Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Naked Truth 2.0. It's been a couple of years since I've done a podcast, and there's some reasons for that. I got distracted with the band that I'm currently playing in. I've started a YouTube channel at Madison Wolf 99 if you're interested. And life just kind of took me in a different direction, and I just kept the episodes up so you can actually access those from I think there's 27 episodes up there. But I was kind of looking for something different, and with version 2.0, I'm going to have a co-host, and we're going to get into some really cool topics. And uh, this person just happened to cross my path. She's in the same field as I am, so that's cool, and I think she'll have some great insights on some of this stuff. And I think we're going to start with a dating topic, and we're probably going to have more than one episode because I think there's a lot to talk about. And I have questions from people who've written in and submitted some questions that they want answered on this podcast, and that will be kind of a format that we're going to use going forward. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my co-host for the Naked Truth 2.0, Dr. Jennifer Gatt. Jen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Great intro. I love it. Hey, but you kind of left out a key piece.
What's that?
Aren't you going to say that we met on a dating site?
Oh yeah, that's right. So that is kind of key. Um, and
It's
I
pretty
think
funny.
it is. It is.
Mhm.
I drove all the way down to where she is, which was a long way, just for a lunch. We had a great conversation, and I think we said, "Hey, this looks like a friendship, so let's kind of do that." And it's been that so far, and that kind of led to this. So here we are, and she's got her own personal story. I've got mine, and we've got some other things to talk about from other people. Questions. I think we just jump right.
Sorry. I don't know if I wasn't supposed to say that, but
No, you're good.
I think it's great. I
You're.
think it's a great. It goes straight into this topic, and
It is the naked truth,
mhm.
right? So we gotta roll with that. So
Yeah. Mhm.
naked truth, being authentic and all that. So okay, let's start with a question that we have that somebody kind of wrote in and said, hey, they want this answered. So Tina from Mobile, Alabama says, how do I pare down from hundreds of choices, and what's happening in each stage of that paring down? What should your mental and emotional state be? Okay, there's a lot there. That's a
Yeah.
lot of
Mhm.
unpacking. And I just want to say congratulations for having hundreds of choices, because I I think yeah, like I don't think I've ever had hundreds of choices, but so congratulations there. So I
Well,
don't
if you
know.
take the
What do you
pool,
think?
the whole pool of what's out there, there are hundreds of choices.
Yeah, if I put my age range from 18 to 95, I'm gonna have hundreds, right?
Yeah.
So, but so yeah. So first thing, what would you
Yeah.
say? What would you say to Tina?
Well, I think, you said it beautifully. I mean, the pool, at least for me, you and I are both in the dating pool, and there are hundreds, there's thousands of people out there. And I just wouldn't say I have hundreds of choices. And that's because you start to triage these people that, online dating, people you come in contact with. And I use the word triage, you kind of take in what you want and let go of the things you don't want. But I think at this age and stage, I've gotten really good at that. There's certain things I don't want. So I would ask Tina or whoever is asking and wanting to know this is, what are you looking for in a partner? And if you really start to say, well, I only want people that are 6 feet tall and above. Well, now you're starting to pare it down, and I hope it's, more than just height. But I think, I don't know, I just think I'm so much wiser now in terms of looking at that pool of people. and going, learning about them and saying, no, that doesn't work for me. That works for me, but that what you have there doesn't work for me. So I think it's a teasing apart of what you want. And you're never going to get it perfect,
Right.
but
Right.
what are you
I
willing to live with?
Yeah, I agree. I think it is knowing what you want and don't want. I will just say for me, one of my huge rule outs is active. So there's a thing, on certain apps that say active sometimes, almost never in your activity level. And if somebody isn't active, they're out. Like
Yep.
that's one of my big rule outs. And I think you should have some rule outs besides just that. But for me, that's one of mine,
Hmm.
because my lifestyle is very active oriented. So I think what's one of yours, like you would just say that you would like, hey,
Ooh.
if they're not this or they are this, then how about smoking, like
Uh,
cigarettes or
smoking's kind of out for me, but if they were I mean, does anybody even smoke cigarettes anymore?
I don't know, or vaping or
I mean, come
whatever.
on, John. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, it wouldn't be a rule out. You want to know what would be a rule out is, gosh, I just don't want to go this deep this fast, but um, anybody that is really stuck in their thinking, not open, not fluid, not willing to hear other perspectives, very dogmatic, self-righteous, that doesn't work for me.
Right.
And it
So
tends to be, the opposite of my political affiliation.
sure. So let's talk about that. So I see on a lot of profiles people talk about politics. No Trumpers. I see that a lot.
Hmm.
You know,
No libtards.
or whatever. So, I mean, for me, I don't care. Like, believe what you want. It's just not a thing for me at all. I don't do politics, so maybe that's why. But I know for some
Mhm.
people, like my mom and my dad are one's, Democrat, one's Republican, and they've been married for 67 years. So it can work. So I guess, but, it's a different day and age than it was, right? When they got married, clearly. But for me, that's just not. I don't care. Like you can believe whatever you want to believe, and I don't judge somebody based on their beliefs. And I'm not really looking for to align with somebody's mind as I am their heart. I guess I'm looking for that connection. So that's me.
Well, that's a great point because, I want to align with somebody spiritually, emotionally, mentally, but, and I don't want to get stuck on this politics thing, but
Yeah.
I feel like if you have certain viewpoints, it trickles down into how you view the world. And, um, I really want everybody to be happy. I don't give two shits if fall in love with this tissue or a man or a woman or where I just don't care. So when you fundamentally have beliefs that are um, incongruent with what I feel are just kind of everyday human liberties, that's hard. So I see that as trickling down into your being. And so that's where it's hard for me. I don't care who you vote for, but I think because of where we live now and what's going on, I want to have open conversations. I want to very much understand the other side.
Yeah.
And I want to have big ears and a small mouth in those conversations. But I just don't find that those are easy to have.
Right. No, I mean, definitely for some people. I mean, I remember I took a a friend of mine who I interviewed on this podcast actually, who she was a senator for Arizona at one point in
Hmm.
time, Martha McSally. You may have heard of her.
Know the name. Hmm.
Also, the first woman who flew combat. And we were having a party for my hiking group, and I remember some people there were just not real receptive to her attending. I mean, this is a woman who served in the military and was the first woman who threw combat in
It's
U.S.
incredible.
history. But because of her political beliefs, like they weren't really excited about having her at this party. And I'm just like, and I remember somebody saying to me, I can't believe you interviewed her, and I said, look, I look beyond what somebody thinks about
Yeah.
certain issues, because we're not all going to think. We don't want clones of ourselves. At least I don't. Like you said, I want to be challenged. I want to be shown the other side. I want to hear somebody's and respect their opinion, even if I
Hmm.
don't agree with it. So fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
So
But that's where I say a really strong, dogmatic person who can't do the back and forth and who's really fixed in their view.
100%.
That's yeah. So it's
Right.
not so much a political affiliation, it's more of how open you are to dialogue, communication, and understanding other people's views, and just being a good person. That's what it is. It's just being a good person in humanity.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's not easy to find. It should be. And I just
Hmm.
feel like some of these things that we're going to talk about don't sound like a lot, but I think they are difficult to find. At least that's
Hmm.
been my experience. So I think for Tina, what I would say is if you know what you want and don't want, I think those hundreds of choices will pare down to less than 100, we'll say, and maybe even less than 50, and maybe even less than 20. So that's what I would say. And then at each stage, so to me, I mean, the thing about online dating, and I'm just going to say, I don't think I'm a good online dater because I'm a slow mover, so I don't do anything quickly. I have in my past when I was younger, and it just didn't ever worked out. So I want to get to know somebody over time, but people want this instant bam, they want this instant connection, and I that's rare. It's super rare. I can count on one hand how many times that's happened to me in my
Hmm.
lifetime. So I think if I was organically with somebody and spent a lot of time with them, that maybe something would happen over time. But I'm just not like, and I think people get put off by that. They want like, all right, like, you know, wine and dine me or whatever, open the door for me or whatever. Like, it's just like I just want to get in and slowly get to know somebody. But a
Hmm.
lot of people aren't that patient. They just want it now. They want it right now. So the question of what should your mental and emotional state be with through each stage of getting to know somebody, I mean, I'd say open. I would say have an open mind, and just see if you're feeling. Do I want to spend more time with this person? Do I want to see them again? Are they interesting enough to me that I think there could be potential down the road? And if you're just feeling, if you're not feeling those things, then I would say, you know, have a conversation or let them know like, hey, I just don't think we're a match, and you know, move on. That's my thought. I don't know if you have any thoughts, Jen.
Well, it's interesting because I think what we're talking about is what we're looking for in another person, a partner, a friend, whatever. And I think that takes knowing yourself at a deeper level. So when we're in our 20s, it's so funny. I just saw TikTok or something on this, but it was on marriage. It's we have this vision of what we want. We want this house, we want kids, we want, go to work and you come home. And I think that you have to know yourself. And at this age, later stage of dating, I know myself so much better than I did in my 20s. So it's not just a gut instinct anymore. It's not just a feeling of butterflies and oh, this is fun. Um, it's an intentional act to spend time with somebody. I mean, I'm busy, you're busy, we have careers, we have families and everything else. And um, so it's me. I wouldn't be at this stage right now if I hadn't done my own internal work to find out who I am and what I want. And so what I want today is so much different than what I wanted 20, 30 years ago. So I think I have some good group of girls that I play cards with often. And this has come up before, and they say you need to make a list. You need to make a list of what are your things you really want, and just brainstorm, put them all down. I want somebody who makes me laugh. I want somebody who's active. I want somebody who likes to cook. whatever it is. Um, and then make a list of the things that are no goes. Like I cannot tolerate that. Somebody who doesn't like to travel, maybe, whatever it is for you. But just so you know for yourself, I'm not talking about taking a list and oh, here's my list. No, but it's more of an internal exercise of going, what's really important to me at this age and stage to find in a partner. And I'm not saying go back to that list and hold everybody up to that, the check marks and the X's, but it serves a role of knowing who you are, what is it that's important for you at this age and stage. And sometimes I didn't do that for a long time. And I did a couple of years ago. And I think it's just kind of it's an internal exercise more than
Uh,
anything.
how many people, percentage wise, do you think have done their own work to meet, what you would qualify have done their own work? Percentage.
I would say 15%.
Yeah. I was going to say 10 or less.
Yeah.
And
And
that, yeah,
and well, I was going to say, and that's my, I mean, we're in the field. I think
yeah.
our view our view is,
Right.
do this much work and it's ongoing forever. I mean, I say that all the time. I say I don't have it all figured out, and this is a lifelong journey. But when people have even done therapy at all, they're like, I've done therapy. I'm like, okay, well, at least we know that that's part of your repertoire of the fiber of who you are versus, yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Right. And I think I've had some people say, no way am I dating a therapist. Like, I've heard that before, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to sit there and analyze me. And like, I, I don't know about you, but I don't sit there and analyze somebody when I'm meeting. I'm just kind of enjoying and soaking it up. Like, I turn it on when something doesn't make sense to me,
Hmm.
to figure it out. But I don't want to, if you're paying me, I'll do it. But like, other than, I don't have it on. I don't know about you, but
No, I don't think I have it on at all. But I do think doing this work for 25 years, it's part of the way I think too. Like you
sure.
said, when something doesn't feel right, and it's a cognitive and an emotional piece. Something doesn't feel right, or you hear something and you go, hmm. But I think that my brain does that automatically, as does yours. And but it's not like I'm deep in thought and I'm taking notes and I'm going, oh, what about this? No, not at all. I'm enjoying it.
Absolutely. And I've had also somebody have said to me, you would think for a therapist, you would have handled this, blah, blah, blah. This like we're held to this higher standard because we're therapists and almost like we should be these perfect people. I mean, that I've gotten that before. So that's a
Well,
fun one.
I would just say stop right there. This person has already told me everything I need to know. I thought you would handle this. I mean, if that's not intuitive at all. I mean, that's not looking at yourself in the, I mean, I don't know what you did, John, but I just
Uh,
think that enough said.
yeah, well, it was one day and I didn't respond and I got accused of ghosting. And I'm like, I don't think one day is ghosting. First of all, I mean,
Mhm.
we had one conversation, didn't even meet in person. This was over, the internet, but still, it is what it is. I just think some people do. They expect you to be perfect, and the way they look at therapists and things like that. I mean, we may know the right things to do, and doesn't mean we can always do them, especially if our heart's involved. And I always say, if my heart's involved, I'm just like everybody else in the world,
That's
you
right.
know?
Hmm. That's
So
right.
you
Hmm.
lose your objectivity completely. So yeah, so for those out there, Jen and I are not psychoanalyzing you, uh, unless you
Yet.
start acting really bizarre, then we might. But generally, no, I would say.
Agreed.
So you mentioned chemistry. So one of the questions, this is from April in Tucson, Arizona. She says, "What does chemistry really mean at this point in my life? Should I
Hmm.
prioritize emotional compatibility over instant attraction?" So I would say to that, what does chemistry really mean? that's a hard one to answer. I think it's a personal definition. Personally, I think chemistry embodies a lot of different factors. I personally look for connection, and that's what I guess the biggest factor is for me in chemistry is this emotional connection that I have or don't have with somebody. And that could mean somebody who gets me, somebody who I think like stimulates me emotionally. I have a friend who said a lot of women can stimulate me physically, but not many can stimulate me mentally. And I thought that was a very profound comment by him. And I think it doesn't get enough play. I think this is a society that's based on looks, and I think it's based on attraction. I mean, all look at our the commercials and the media and all that stuff. It's so I think we're that instant bang, let's go society. Personally, I've had all that. I've had all that a lot. I've had a lot of that. It's like so I'll check that box. Now I'm looking to check another box that maybe I probably haven't had to the degree I want, which is that emotional connection. Somebody who gets me, can call me on my bullshit when needed, who isn't just going to be like, "Yeah, you rock" all the time. Like
Hmm.
I don't want to be put on a pedestal because I'm not going to live up to that first of all. So don't do that. So somebody just yeah, just we can just who just gets it, who gets me. Because I don't feel like I'm just like the average guy walking around. I'm a little different. I live a little differently. And so I think it's not the average person is probably not going to be a good match for me. That's how I think of it. So I don't know. What do you think, Jen? What do you think about the whole chemistry thing?
Gosh, I think chemistry is I think chemistry can be instantaneous, and then I think it can be a slow burn. And I think the instantaneous chemistry is unless you hit the jackpot and you meet this person and there's instantaneous chemistry, and then you get to know them and you go, oh my gosh, like they get me, they're my person. I mean, we are emotionally connected, and then that's you've hit the jackpot. But I think there's also the slow burn where you kind of hang out with somebody and you go, yeah, they're nice, of course. And then you're like, wow, I kind of like this person, and then you get the chemistry. Um, but to go back to her question, I'm looking at it here. Prioritize emotional capacity to instant attraction. I'm going to say this, and I don't mean this. I'm going to explain it afterwards. I want it all. I want the chemistry. I want the attraction. I want the intellectual compatibility. It doesn't mean we're going to be completely on the same page about everything, but I think you can have it all, April. I think you can. And I think we sell ourselves short by thinking that, oh, I got to pick one or the other, or oh, this or that, or oh, he's got a good job, but I don't really like him. No, baloney. I mean, that's that's the culture we live in. I mean, that you know, we're not building ourselves up. I think this goes back to knowing yourself again, though. Who are you? What do you want? And are you spending time on nurturing who you are and finding the person that matches that? Or are you instantaneous, like you said, John, jumping into something because they're hot or they're this or they're that, they have the right job? So I think I would diminish the attractiveness piece for me. Like that's not highest on my list, but I do want to be attracted to somebody for sure. No doubt. But the emotional, spiritual, intellectual, daily living connection is more important to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
No, I think that's a great answer. And I think people settle. And I think we hear this thing, don't settle. But I think if you're not going to settle, it can be a lonely road, right? And I think so. I say, I don't think I'm ever going to get it all. I don't think that person is out there. I think I get most of it, but I don't know if I'm going to get all of it. And I think if I go in there saying I want it, everything, and I'm holding out for that, well, I might as well just kind of go in the senior home right now because that's where people are really hooking up. So,
high rate of STDs,
but who cares at that point, really? I mean,
right?
does anybody really
Right?
care?
Who
Exactly.
gives a shit? Just have fun.
That's right. So, but I think at the end of the day, you know, don't settle. Get most of what you want,
Yeah.
but it's you have to wait, and it's going to be you have to be patient. You have to weed through a lot of people, which is not easy, and people get frustrated with that. And I think that comes to my next point, which is expectations. And I think I go into these dates with zero expectations other than I might meet a really cool person. And hey, if it turns into, something more, great. But if I make a friend, I'm happy. And because I just know it's so hard to just like, all right, I saw your pictures and you look cool, and bam, here we are, and then we're gonna live happily ever after. Like that's so rare and so difficult. Yeah, if I want to be in a dysfunctional relationship, I can do that too. I mean, been there, done that. So I just go in with like, I'm looking forward to meeting, connecting with somebody, and enjoying my time. And if there's a spark, or if there's something there that's more than that, great. But I'm not expecting it. And if it happens, it happens. And I know most of the time it's not going to happen. That's what I mean. You have to
Yeah.
go and you have to meet a lot of different people to kind of find that one out of how many. I have friends that have met three. I have a friend, good friend. He's done this twice now. He meets two or three people. He picks one and he dates them for 8 years. And I was like, I don't know how he does it. Like, I want his secret. And he just, but he's also told me, like, I don't want to be alone. Okay. You don't want to be alone. So to me, he's settling, right? He's settling.
Hmm.
And if it works for him, great. If it works for her, great. Like for me, it doesn't work. That doesn't work for me. I'm not going to date just to date. I'm not going to be in a relationship just so I'm not alone. I've done lots of that. I didn't want to be alone for the longest parts of my life. And then I got to a point finally when I got in my 40s that I'm just like, I don't need a partner. I would
Yeah.
like one, but I don't need one. So then I started making smarter choices. My eyes were wide open. But for him, I think, you know, he made a decision, right? It's almost calculated. And there's a thing that say women when they want to get married, they get married within a year or something like, or a year and a half, or something like that. I've heard that before. It's like, yeah, I want this. I'm going to get this. And so,
Yeah.
does the person magically appear in the next year or 18 months? I mean, the divorce rate is 60% for a reason. So, you know,
Is it 60 now?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I think it's high. It's over half. So
Wow.
so yeah. So I think a lot of people don't want to be alone. So I think that's a
Mhm.
big thing. And I think at this age, like this same person, my friend, said, I saw him a couple of months ago when I was back in Ohio, and he said, "You better get a girlfriend, man. At this age, you know, you're gonna have health problems. You're gonna have this. You better get a girl." And I'm like, I'm like, I'm not gonna do something out of fear of
Correct.
like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But that's how a lot of people think. I think particularly in that area of the country that's more conservative, get married, get 2.5 kids, have a white picket fence house, which a mold that I never fit into. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think your friend is, he's it's working for him. 8 years with somebody is a long time. And I think we all are in charge of our own paths. And
Yeah,
I think it's just so interesting. And then here comes the psychology. But I think even your friend, I hope he may listen, but um there's everything that we do and the patterns that we have in our lives. And I say 8 years and finds into somebody else and recommits. There's just so much of how we act that is the underpinnings of our family of origin, the experiences we've had. And so I mean, and this is where, somebody would say, oh my gosh, you're analyzing. But I do this with myself. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I choosing this and not this? And it's also intertwined and tied together. So I can only speak for myself, but I want a lifetime of growth. I want to be wiser tomorrow. I want to be um, more contented. I want to grow more tomorrow and be more mature. I want to be more mature tomorrow than I was yesterday. So those patterns of behavior and why I choose certain things, they mean a lot to me, and I really dig into those. So for that reason, I think my dating life is evolving. It's yeah, it's not the way it was when I was in my 20s. It's not the way it was, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Um, so yeah, I think gosh, I think we're all on our own journey of figuring ourselves out, what we want, um, and choosing a mate. And I just don't want to do anything out of fear. I mean, you said you've done things out of fear before, and I have too. And I just don't, yeah, I just don't want to. I want to choose a partner because I want them. Like you are additive to my life. I want to have joy, and of course, I'm not trying to be, poly. I almost said polyamorous, Pollyanna, um,
Right.
about this. But life has ups and downs. It's yin and yang. But I just want to be. I want to live life and be free and make good choices based on what I know about myself and what I'm learning. And yeah, I don't know. I just think I don't. There's thought put into it for sure, but I'm enjoying the ride. I feel like I'm just like riding out in the ocean. It is fun. And so I think how you approach dating. I mean, if you put pressure on yourself to find a partner, like I gotta find a partner. Oh my God, I gotta find a partner. Oh my God. It just feels, and granted, I'm in my 50s. So I don't have to have pressure, but some people in their 50s do. I mean, for whatever reason. Maybe they have kids at home and they need somebody to split the bills with them. I don't know. But um I go into it kind of like I did with this podcast. I want to go into it and feel it and enjoy it and with dating. And of course, there's, cognition going on like, oh, I didn't like that or that, but so I don't think I have big expectations. It's more, for me, it's more about the journey myself.
Well said. Well said.
Mm.
This is why you're my co-host right here.
I
For
don't know
that,
about
what you just said. So, all right, a couple more questions. Uh, this is from Jennifer, not you, but another Jennifer,
Mm.
uh, and she comes from Des Moines, Iowa. Says, "How can I tell if somebody is generally interested in a relationship rather than trying to fill a void?" And I think before we answer that question, let's define what would you say a relationship? How do we define a relationship? Because that could be is that me? I mean, in these days, it could mean a lot of different things. So I'm going to say that most people would define that as where you're exclusive, meaning you're not seeing anybody else. It's a commitment. There's no rings on your fingers, but there is a understood and a verbal contract, I guess. Like we're going to
Mm.
be in this and we're going to make try this and see what happens. I mean, and there's no
Mm.
guarantees in anything, but
Sure.
that's kind of a very quick and dirty what I would define as a real. And we're gonna be emotionally intimate. We're gonna be physically intimate.
Hmm.
It's amazing how many people. Just a little side note: how many people can get physically intimate before they get emotionally intimate? Isn't that kind of, you know, that's amazing
Yeah,
to me.
I agree. Because that
Yeah,
doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. I mean, the physical intimacy is so rich when there's the emotional intimacy, and I just can't. Yeah, I can't do just the physical. It doesn't work for me.
right.
Yeah, somebody who's really interested in you. Yeah, I think a great job in defining what I think we typically in this culture think of as a relationship.
Yeah,
And I don't know about you, John, but my evolution of thinking about a relationship has changed. I mean, in my 20s, I thought a relationship was living under the same roof, having kids, doing everything so I don't know. I'd love to hear from people in their 40s and 50s as to what a relationship means at this age and stage. So how do you know if somebody's interested? I mean, for me, it's actions, and it's also words, though. I mean, I dated somebody and we'd been talking about getting together on a Saturday. He had his kids, I have kids. And yeah, I think that it was tentative. It was tentative. It was tentative. Saturday came and left. We made a tentative plan. So just not communicating at all. I'm like, that doesn't work and I just said. And so my point is, we weren't in a committed relationship, but we were hanging out and doing things together. But I think it's really hard for us to confront and be honest and authentic with where we're coming from. And I just said, hey, this isn't working. I said, we've been planning on this and you didn't call me. I just said, that's just not the way I am. That's not who I am as a person. Um, so I think when somebody's actions show you that they're not in it, read the writing on the wall. They're
Right.
telling you exactly who they are. Exactly. And then I back that up with language and communication and saying, hey, what was going on? Or, well, I had a lot going on. A lot going on. Come on, bullshit. Like, we're adults. We have our phones with us all the time. You can give a thumbs up. You can say, hey, it's not going to work. But so for me, it's actions. And I'm not a person of acts of service. That's not my love language. But I just mean in terms of getting to know each other. And then just being really honest. And whenever things don't work out in a budding relationship, I'm honest about it and I said, hey, listen, we've been talking about this and you didn't even call. And he goes, you don't know what was going on. Well, why don't you tell me? I mean, so those are things where I'm like, I just don't have time for this. This is so childish. And I mean, and I'm not saying I'm better. I'm not saying that at all. That's not where I'm at, and that doesn't work for me. That's not authentic to who I am. I want more. I want somebody who can say, hey, I got a lot of shit going on right now. I'll call you by Wednesday, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
So,
I'm going to give you a little a shout out here that when we connected on an app, you then you called me. I don't know, a couple days later, and you said, "Hey, I just want you to know I'm busy," and I'm like, appreciate that. Like that was so cool. Like I don't think anybody's ever done that, and so that set the expectation to like, hey, I have limited time, and I was like, great, But I think that's my number one in any relationship is communication,
yeah,
and I don't think people in general are good at communicating to each other, and that's what I have seen. That they won't be honest with you, or they just won't say anything, and that goes into the whole ghosting topic. Like
mhm.
ghosting is bullshit, guys. Like if you don't have, you know, if you can't just send a text or
Say it.
something.
The balls. If you don't have the balls, the cojones.
Thank you, thank you. Uh, I knew you would jump in there with that. That was a slow pitch. I just kind of that was, and you hit it out of the park. Thank you. So yeah, if you don't like, come on, like really, like we're all adults. At least I hope we're all adults at this
Mhm.
point. Some more than others, but just come on, like have some decent respect. And I said, it's like, you know, and I had a friend, and I said, I told her I had a few dates with somebody, and I remember her saying, "Well, she doesn't owe you anything." I said, "It's not about owing me anything. It's just about decency. It's
Yeah,
about, common courtesy.
yeah,
Like just, let somebody know or whatever." So yeah. So I think that whole ghosting thing. I don't think we need to say anything more about it. It's just like if you're ghosting, get off the apps.
yeah,
That's what I'm gonna say.
yeah. Agreed, agreed. But I also think let's talk about ghosting because if you're on an app and somebody reaches out to you and then you reach back out to them, but then there's no communication, I don't think that's ghosting. Do
No,
you?
no.
Yeah, I mean, there's because you're in touch with lots of people. I'm just saying, I think ghosting, and I want to define this because again, I don't want this to be taken the wrong way. Ghosting is when you're talking to somebody or have a rapport or you've seen them in my book. If somebody doesn't respond to me on an app, I'm like, whatevs.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So, uh, and I think the last thing we're going to do, and I don't want to make this too long today because it's our first one, and our brains are just getting warmed up to doing podcasts, or at least mine
And
is.
we'll
So
have to see if people even like us.
yeah,
Jeez.
we'll see if people even
And
like us. But
and
there's
you know
so
what?
much.
My
Yeah,
ego is not attached to that either.
that's right. Good for you. Good for you. I think we could talk for hours about this subject, but I think we're going to do a part two, and we're going to try to do one a month minimum at this point. So, and along those lines, there's going to be a donation link in the
Huh?
description. This podcast cost about 35, $40 a month just to have to host. So anything you can give, if you enjoyed this, I would appreciate it. Even if it's a dollar, whatever, anything, because we'd like to continue doing this. And that's also one reason I stopped doing the podcast, because I got sick of paying for it. And I think nobody was donating, even just a little bit, a couple bucks. So that was also, and we were not sponsored at this point, so we're sponsorless. So yeah, so that's all I have to say about that. And if you want to write in some questions, because we're going to do probably at least one or two more on the dating topic before we switch. And Jen and I have a whole host of topics to talk about in the future that are not dating related. So just stand by for that. You can email us. It's the nakedtruth2021 at gmail.com. And if you want to submit some questions or even comments, like you enjoyed it, whatever, I think I'm going to try to get this on YouTube, because I'm started using this new service and they do include video. So we may be starting a YouTube channel and more on that and then future episodes. But I think just in terms of getting the word out, I think if you do multi-platform, it's better and can reach more people. So there you go. That's it. All right. So
And we're
hey,
having fun with this.
we're having fun. We're having so much fun. Really enjoying this.
Show me your fun face. This is what I do to kids when they leave my house. Show me your proud face.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten like, why don't you need to smile more? Like I've heard that from so many people. I'm very stoic. That's just me.
That's
It's
okay.
but I'm laughing in here. Like I'm
Inside.
enjoying it.
On
Yeah,
the inside.
in the inside. That's right. All right. So here's the last thing that I want to bring up, and this is my thing. This is not
Mm.
anybody who wrote in. Why don't people meet organically
Oh.
anymore? Or very rarely, we'll just say. Why are we even in this dating app society? Look at a picture, swipe, kind of ridiculousness. Why? How did we get here?
I'm going to ask you a question, John.
All right,
How many people have you met organically
like
in dating
ever,
in the last 5 years?
like that I've dated, or just period.
Well, you've exchanged numbers and then you've maybe seen them once or twice.
In the last 5 years, probably less than five, for sure.
One. I've done one. You're five. I mean, you're kind of hitting it out of the park there.
Well, I run a hiking group, so there's
Oh, yeah,
one,
that's
and
true.
I
Uh-huh.
met somebody in this hiking group. Then we dated for a little bit. But yeah, other than that. But I think, okay, so why? Why is that? Like, why don't we
Okay.
meet?
Well, I think a couple things. At this age and stage, people our age are typically married. And if we see them out and about, you're not, I mean, you don't know if they're married. You don't know if they're in a relationship. Um, I'm not out and about that much. I mean, I can't date patients. I can't date their parents. I can't date. I mean, so that's kind of, I don't meet people at work. The one person I did meet organically was at Orange Theory. So it was at a workout. So that's kind of cool. I was not looking my best, but even that's even
So you got
a
that out of
great.
the way. You got that out of the way. Like, hey,
Yeah.
this is the worst I'm ever gonna look. So
Oh
there you
my
go.
gosh. I was like, Sunday morning, no makeup, hair in a bun. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I think, so I think opportunity, I think a lot of people our age are married or in a relationship. I just always want to be respectful of people and their lives. So I think opportunity is the big one. What do you think?
Yeah,
Because we have our faces in our phones.
well, I think for me, it's we're all guarded. We're all, if I walk up
Mm,
to you in the produce section and I'm like, I mean, first of all, what's my opening line? Like, hey, I love this lettuce, right? I mean, or whatever. Like, I don't have a line. I don't.
right?
The art of lines is gone. So, I mean, I could come up with some
Mm.
cheesy line, and maybe you would laugh, but like I think most people would be like, "What? Like, what does this guy want from me?" Like, and I will just be honest. If a girl coming up to me and I'd be like, my guard would be like, "What does she want?" Like,
Hmm.
I would be I would be guarded, and I'm cautious by nature anyway. So I'd be like, okay, this is weird, right? And so I think it's. I remember when my graduate school, I remember a woman came up to me who was in my class, and she's like, hey, I'd like to know if you'd like to get a cup of coffee sometime. And I was seeing somebody at the time, and I just said, oh, thank you. I said, I was trying to just be so gentle with her, and I just said, I'm in a relationship. Thank you. And I said, and I thank you for having the courage to do that because I know
Yeah,
that's super hard. I mean, I'm going to see her in class every day, right? This was still
yeah.
in the middle of the semester. So, and she's like, yeah, she goes, I was kind of going over it in my mind how this was going to go. I mean, she went all that. She was super like real and authentic, and I didn't want her to feel bad. I was doing
Hmm.
everything I could so she wouldn't feel bad because I know how courageous of an act that is to walk up to somebody and ask just cold pretty much because we
Hmm.
had never exchanged words before. So I think when you walk up to somebody, you don't know if they're in a relationship. So there's the
Hmm.
risk of rejection is higher
Yeah.
because everybody on the apps is at least, I'll put single in quotes
Yeah.
because I think that means something for some people and something for others. But I think for her it was just, coming up and taking a chance and just saying, "What the hell? I'm just gonna." And I have so much respect for her,
Hmm.
I haven't walked up cold, you know, my days of the bars and things like that when you've had a few, you get a little whatever. But I was always the one who needed some kind of an in, either like I'm gonna bump into you and on purpose or not just like hey,
Hmm.
so I think you just don't know. There's a lot you don't know
No.
about the person, and I think on the apps you have some information. They're
Hmm.
single, what their political beliefs, blah blah blah, things like that. So I don't know. I think we're all guarded today. I mean, especially as a woman, I would think even more so than men. But I think even men, like men are I don't think they don't want to be taken advantage of or whatever or
Hmm.
roped into being a father or whatever all the things
Hmm.
that men talk about. So I think it's just scary, but I think my biggest reason is I just think we're all guarded today and we're all cautious, and it just doesn't happen anymore. But I think if you get like
Yeah.
in a hiking club, like I run a meetup group, and people just come and they hike, and if you get to know somebody over time and they show up a few hikes, it's just no pressure, zero pressure. It's because you're there to
Hmm.
hike. You're not there to date. So
Yeah.
I think when you have that expectation of like, okay, you're here to date, I think there's a lot of more can be a lot more pressure applied
Hmm.
where, I just think if you just meet, like at a gym, like you said, or at a hiking group or whatever, I think there should be more organizations set up to meet organically that potentially could have some dating opportunities than there are. There aren't a whole lot of those anymore. There used to be a ton,
Hmm.
but they're not because everything has just gone online. And yeah. So those are my thoughts. I don't know if you have any more on that.
No, I think you covered it well, and I think guarded is really well said. So this is interesting. I think I am less guarded when I meet somebody in person. I mean, if it's somebody who feels like I might connect with them, if it's somebody, If it's somebody who I'm somebody who just got out of a, yeah, I mean, prison or something, and they're living in a group home and they've got their tag on, that might not. I might be kind of freaked out by that. But not that that's bad, but I just don't. I, I've had that happen to me, so that's why I say that.
Yeah.
um, but when you meet organically, I'm less um cautious, is what I'll say. So on the app, I'm super cautious. Like, um, I don't want people to know where I live. I don't give them my phone number. I'm not going to get into all of that. But when I kind of see somebody and I know they're real and we're kind of hanging out in the same place, it's in the neighborhood or whatever, I'm a little less guarded. But that's the first layer of being guarded. And then there's more, emotional guardedness that I think it's in layers for me. But yeah, I think it's multi-layered in terms of why it's hard to meet people
So
organically.
how is somebody supposed to approach you in the grocery store? Like seriously. So I see you in the grocery store. Do I
Mm,
walk up and just say hi?
that's a good question. Hi, it would be something. Yeah, I mean, I think it's courageous. You're right. It takes such courage.
And you're gonna be like, hi, right? And then I'm like, okay,
Would you like some string
uh,
cheese?
yeah. Would you like some straight? Like, I think, like, what if I said, I thought you're, I thought you were really attractive and just wanted to come say hi.
I think somebody who opens like, I think you're really attractive. I don't want to be offensive, but I was wondering if you're in a relationship. I've had people do that, and that's very flattering. I go, "Oh, I'm so flattered." And again, to your point of I want to honor their courage in coming towards me because I don't think a lot of people have that. And so I think saying you're very attractive, I wanted to know if you're in a relationship. Would you be open to meeting up for coffee? It doesn't have to be a long conversation, but I think that is, I don't know, I'm just a straightforward person though. I mean, if somebody just came up and said, "Hey, do you want some string cheese?" I'd be like, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a little bit scary. We'll say
It
scary,
is.
and nobody wants to
Mm-hmm.
be rejected. I think it's easier on the apps because, all right, they delete you, they delete your conversation, whatever. I mean, it's
Totally.
right, right. It's just like it's so funny. It's just like remember like when they had old school days where you had the phone, you had the handle, and you hang up on somebody, you could just like you could bang that thing down, and now it's just like you're just pressing this little thing on a screen, like there it is.
Swipe,
Yeah, yeah. So
swipe.
so I think it's just so different today. But nobody wants to feel rejected. But are you really getting rejected? I mean, it's hard not to take it personally and
Hmm.
feel rejected, but I don't really think it's you that's getting rejected. I mean, who knows what that person has in their world and
Hmm.
their all the cocktail of things going on in their life. Maybe you look uh, like somebody who just really hurt them and burned them in the past, or who knows what. So I
Who
will tell
knows?
you a story real quick. I triggered an A-list celebrity, though I will not name.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah, yes. I worked wilderness therapy for a long time, 15 years, and we used to have a parent workshop. And there was they did it every few weeks, and I was asked to attend the parent workshop, even though I didn't have one of my kids that I was working with in that particular workshop. But because I've been doing this a long time and have a lot of experience, they wanted me in there. And there was an A-list celebrity who I knew, and I loved her movies, which now I will never notch another one, but we'll get to the end here in a second. So so I go in there and there's about 12 parents in there, and I'm shaking each one of their hands. And I said, hi, I'm John, blah, blah, blah. And so we start the thing, and, the A-list celebrity starts talking about her child and this and that. And she, all the parents are just fixated on her and just riveted on her. And she's being so dramatic. And you know,
Oh.
oh, beyond the normal parent. Like I've seen lots of parents get emotional. This was like beyond that, and and then she stops
Wow.
speaking, and she's got a hoodie on, she puts her hood, and she just kind of, other parents start to talk for about 5 minutes, and then she starts to talk again, and she's talking and she's talking, and she stops mid sentence. She points right at me, and she said, "And you, I don't even know who you are. I was hoping to go through all 4 days with the same people, and you come in on a Tuesday, and I don't know who you are." And I just sat there. I was like thinking, trust me, I don't want to be here. Like I was told I had to be here. And so my friend, who was a therapist, is working with her kid. Later, he told me that I triggered her because I remind her of her soon to be ex husband at this point, who they had this child with, this tall guy, and I guess we had similar builds or whatever, and so I was like, wow, so I just triggered an A-list celebrity, so that was
Mhm.
kind of cool. So, but it was just like, wow, it didn't feel good. It didn't feel good to
Yeah.
be, if, forget that she was a celebrity. It just didn't feel good.
Mhm.
So 2 weeks later, the husband shows up for the parent workshop, and he starts talking, and I don't think we look alike, but we're definitely built alike and maybe have similar voice or whatever. And I remember he's like, "Yeah, my wife, we're having some issues, and trying, whatever, is an A-list celebrity type, and I'm just a dumb brain surgeon." I never forgot
Wow.
that. Yeah, and it's like, wow. And I don't know how we got on that or what made me think of that, but
Triggering people in the
triggering
grocery
people.
store.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I
Hmm.
triggered. So there you go. That's my claim to fame. I'll sign autographs later, but I triggered an A-list celebrity, and yeah,
Not
I
in a good
just
way.
no, and just after watching her, I was just like, what a drama queen. Like,
Yes.
really.
Oh my God.
It's just like, look at me and this and that. She had, she's aged, and
Hmm.
she's, doesn't look like she did in her movies and all that stuff. And I get it. It's, everybody, we all age and things like
Hmm.
that. But I think it's like, maybe I'm trying to recapture some of that attention that I got when I was famous and all that. And I don't think she's done a ton of movies recently, but I really enjoyed her movies. I watch them a little differently now if they're going to be on. I'll tell you that.
Can
So
can we talk about the fact that she's on a journey and probably hasn't done her own work?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
I
I
mean,
think
the drama, the histrionic, it's like,
yeah,
I mean, come on.
she's been married a few times, so
Okay.
we'll say that. I think maybe a little less than five, but whatever.
Mm.
So all
Hmm.
good.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to throw her
Nope,
under the
nope,
bus
not at
too
all.
much.
Not at all.
No.
Well, I just want to say also, I get back to your point. I think that
Yeah.
everybody who's out there dating, it's, there's so many people that are divorced or not in a relationship, not partnered, who don't want to date. And I understand. I mean, for whatever reasons, there's a whole host of them. And I have a girlfriend that always says, Jen, you're so courageous to put yourself out there. You're so courageous. And I don't really feel courageous, but I think it's worthwhile to note that if you're out there dating and you're putting yourself out there, it is courageous because you can be rejected, you can be ghosted, you can be deleted, on a conversation. And so it's we're all out there doing it, and I think use these words a lot in my practice and with my family. I say, give other people grace and compassion and give yourself some because I mean, it's hard to put yourself out there. You're by just dating, you're making yourself vulnerable. And so just give yourself a little shoulders back and a little prop that you're doing it.
Yeah, well said. I agree 100%. And I think it does take a lot of guts and strength to get out and put yourself out there for sure. No doubt. So, with that being said, we have lots of questions we didn't get to. We will save for the next episode. Thanks everybody for watching, and I think your homework, the listener's homework, is to think about what your naked truth is.
Oh.
That'd be good. Some good homework. That's what I ended all of my interviews with in the first 1.0 Naked Truth. We're doing a little bit differently now. Jen and I are just going to talk and hopefully entertain you, and hopefully you might learn some things too. You never know. So
And we're not showing up naked though, only emotionally naked.
no, no, at least not yet. I mean, maybe 3.0.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, if we really need some subscribers, we might do that. So you could find the Naked Truth on Apple, Spotify, everywhere you find a podcast. You can find it. So please subscribe. We're back, better than ever, and we will see you later. Thanks, everybody.
Perfect.